So are we recording, Meg? We set? Perfect. Okay. So, hey guys, I'm so excited to get this call kicked off today because we have some really exciting stuff to share with you. And funny story first is that me and Missy have been going back and forth, and her call that she was speaking on, her topic is, working consistently in our business through all of life's inconsistencies. And it's an ironic topic today because we're going to work through some inconsistencies and curveballs that life throws at us tonight, as I was going to speak for her team and she was going to speak for our team. And we had some miscommunications along the way. And now we're both going to speak to you guys tonight. So it's going to be awesome. So we're going to split this call, and she's going to share about working through life's inconsistencies consistently in our businesses. And I'm going to share about overcoming objections for the second part of our call. But tonight, what I'm so excited for you guys to hear from Missy, whether you are a coach on her team or on our team, I hope that you really come with an open mind to hear something new tonight that you've never heard before, because Missy has a truly amazing story, in my opinion, just from how I've started to get to know her through messaging back and forth. She is a military wife of 26 years. And I believe that, I think you told me, Missy, that you've moved 15 times, which is crazy. She's lived all over the place in multiple countries and multiple states and multiple cities, and had these inconsistencies in her life that she had to work through. She's also a master trainer for Beachbody. She teaches all formats. She's been working with Shalene since 2011, I believe. Is that right? 2001, 2011. Back before it was even bought by Beachbody, and it was still Powder Blue Productions. And in coaching through all of this, guys, through 26 years of the military, through 15 times of moving, she's been in Success Club 10 for 64 months in a row. Okay. So if that doesn't give you some encouragement, some hope and belief that through all of life's challenges, you can do it too, I don't know what will. But I'm so excited to hear from you, Missy. She's going to get us started tonight, and then she will turn it over to me in a bit. So Missy, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for your flexibility in being here with us. I should also say to you guys that she just moved and her husband left for Afghanistan today. And here she is, like, living through life's inconsistencies with us. So welcome, Missy.
Thank you very, very much. I'm sitting here trying to put my notes up here because I'm blind as a bat. And so I'm trying not to look at notes if I can, but thanks, Abby. And she's right. We have gone back and forth. It's been great because we kind of put it out there and go, who wants to do a team call together? And so when we went back and forth, I realized we have so many things that are alike, and then so many things that are so completely different. And I thought that was pretty cool, number one. And then, like she said, today we got our wires kind of crossed, and you know what? You kind of go with the flow, and that's exactly what we're doing today. And we're so glad, number one, that all of you guys are on here, because we thought that we had an 8 o'clock call and a 9 o'clock call, Eastern Standard Time. No, it's Central Standard Time because I just moved. Who knows, right? How many of y'all have a life like that? Seriously. Okay, good. So it's not just me. I'm just making sure. So tonight we are going to talk about the being consistent when life is not so consistent. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I never wake up and have the same day every day. Anybody else? No? Okay. So I want you to think about this as not just when she was just talking about, I just moved here a week ago. My husband did leave for Afghanistan today. I thought my eyes were going to be all swollen and I'm being very honest, but I was like, thank you, Abby, honestly, because this kind of made me kind of go in a different direction and make sure that I get my stuff done, being consistent, right? So with all that being said, I want to give you a couple of steps just to kind of think about what your life is like on a daily basis and all these ups and downs that happen in your life and things that will really help you progress forward, or at least keep your business stable, not stagnant, while things happen. So do you have a piece of paper and a pen? I hope you always come to these calls with something like that. Good. And a baby in a hand. I see that over there too. Okay. So the very first one I want you to put down is to keep your why right in the front of you at all times, okay? So what does that mean? Well, you all signed up to be a coach, whether you decided you want to be a discount coach, or maybe you wanted to kind of dabble in it a little bit, or you are running forward and want everybody else to chase you. Whatever it might have been, you have this certain why behind it all. It could be that you wanted to make a better living. You might want to travel more. You might want to just to pay off your own Shakeology, you know, whatever it is, you have your why. How many of y'all have made a vision board of some sort? Okay, I see a couple of hands. I'll tell you, I'm not very crafty. I was a school teacher. I taught math in college and in high school. There is no craft here. It's just numbers, right? So when people talk about vision boards, I'm like, oh, I don't want to cut and paste anything. But we do have our own vision boards, right? So you could do a vision board on your phone. My vision board is literally a picture of a beautiful home right on the water in Kauai. I don't want to be the person sitting behind the person who has the house on the water in Kauai. I want to be the person who is in that front house. And so that is one of my big whys, something that I want to help my husband and I do, because we're empty nesters now. I have 2 kids. One is a senior in college, which I am now rooming with, go figure, while my husband's gone. So that's kind of crazy. And my other is in New York, and she's on her own, doing her own thing. So my why has changed in 6 years as being a coach. It used to be something completely different. So just remember that as you keep going, your why is going to change. But if you don't have that why in front of you, then you really do not have any push to keep going when life gets in your way. That's a huge thing you have to remember, okay? And I'm going to look at here because I am like blind, like I said. So one of the things about that, when I said, you know, a vision board, if you're not a big vision board kind of person, is just write it down. Write it down. Write down your why. Put it in sticky notes in certain places, maybe in the mirror when you get up in the morning. If you see it every single day, I promise you, you're more likely to do the things that you don't necessarily want to do, because you know it's going to get closer and closer to that why. So that's number 1, okay? Number 2 is pick your battle. And I said battle. It could be battle/battles. How many of y'all have kids? Yeah. If you don't have kids, you have dogs. You might have a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it might be, right? When I say pick your battles, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're like, oh, I remember my kids, I'd say, okay, I want you to go clean your room. And I give them 5 or 6 things to do. And because after one, they don't remember anything or they don't want to do it. And they get to the room and they didn't do anything, right? So think of that with your business as picking 1 or maybe 2 specific things that you need to get accomplished that day. Because if you're like in a boat like I was, or I am still, because I'm still moving in, but where you know, you're having to move or you're having to get other things done and it feels like you just don't have any time at all. If you're always doing something, you might be a turtle in the race, but you're still going to cross the line, right? So keep that in mind, is that you're doing these little bitty things. They could be small, it could be big. I mean, how many of y'all have read Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog? No, if not, write that one down and read it. It's a quick read, but it is exactly this. Do the thing at the top of the list, that priority thing, that thing that's kind of, ugh, I don't like to do it, because you know if you do that one thing, it will solve a lot of the other issues, okay? So keep that in mind. That would be like number 2 when I was talking about is picking your battles, all right? And I want to kind of add on to that. So think about it with all the fitness and your challenge groups. If you had somebody come into your challenge group and they're addicted to sugar and they also smoke, are you going to tell them to quit smoking and quit drinking their sodas all at once? Of course we want to. But instead, you'd probably tell them, all right, let's work on not having as much sugar, right? Take one of the things away, let them work on that, and then take something else away. So that's the same concept with you. Instead of taking it away, add one thing to your plate versus adding 10 things to your plate. Because if you add 10 and you don't accomplish them, how do you feel? Do you feel good about yourself, or do you kind of beat yourself up? Exactly. I'm seeing thumbs. Okay. So that's what we want, is we don't want our mindset to go a different direction. So make sure that you're just picking 1 or 2 battles. Okay. Number 3, schedule it. All right. How many of y'all use your phone like religiously? Your calendar in your phone? Yeah. All right. And I'm holding it here because it's like connected to me. Yes, I know. All right. So you have your phone, or maybe you have a hard copy, you know, calendar, whatever you do, do it. That's pretty much what I'm going to tell you there. Whatever you do, do it. If you're not scheduling it, what is it? Fail to plan, then you plan to fail. You heard that one before? Okay? So if you are not scheduling something, if you're not planning what your day is going to look like, then I can guarantee it will not look like what you want it to look like. All right? How many of you guys schedule your day the night before? How many of you are like, oh, I should have raised my hand, but I don't do it? So here's the thing. I am the world's worst. I know my team's on here too, and they're like, oh, Missy, you don't schedule it. I do schedule. Does it always work out that way? Heck no. But at least if I schedule it, I know that the next day I have to do X, Y, and Z, right? And if I planned X in the morning, Y in the afternoon, and Z in the evening, and something happened, one of the kids got sick, or I had to go to another meeting, or whatever it might be, at least I know that if I didn't hit X, X can drop down somewhere else, but at least I know that that should have been done there. Does that make sense? I'm kind of rambling around here, but does that make sense? Sort of, kind of? All right. So again, you want to make sure you're scheduling out your day. And the best time to do it is probably the day before. A lot of people like to schedule out their entire week, and that's great, especially when you're scheduling out things like posts. Why not pre-schedule those things, right? But if you schedule the night before, then you're really going to be a little more accurate into what's going to go in there. Now, it's not about scheduling or following your schedule. It's about making sure that your priorities are your schedule. Okay? So you have your priorities. What are your priorities? Those are those battles that we told you to pick. So again, when life gets a little crazy and you're like, I can't do anything tomorrow, don't ever say that. You can always do something small. Always do something small that's going to give you that foundation for your business, because that's where we're all at. Am I right? Are we coaches, emerald coaches, any diamond coaches in here? You should have a couple in here. Yep. Okay. How many emerald coaches? Good. And coaches. Yes. Good. All right. Is there any star diamonds? Okay. So what I'm trying to get across, there we go. Megan, she's like, I got it. So what I'm trying to get across there is just to make sure that you are always looking at the fact that you're building a foundation. And if we pour that concrete and there's holes in that concrete, it's not going to necessarily hold up that house that we're going to build later on, which is your star diamond and up. Okay. So make sure that you're always scheduling out your day. Okay. Number 4, I love this. Ignore your feelings. Okay. Now that's kind of a weird one to say, right? But when I say ignore your feelings, how many of y'all have had a bad day and it's time to work out because you told your challengers that they had to work out and you still haven't worked out, and you say, God, I don't want to work out. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. How many of you talk yourself into not doing something? I do. I do it all the time. And the fact is that I do it all the time and I have to stop myself. That's what I'm talking about. You have to ignore your feelings. When your day is overwhelmed, oh, sorry, I got a cat there. When your day is getting overwhelmed, or if something has happened that you're like, I can't fit anything else in this day, once again, go back to, sorry, my cat's all over the place, picking your battles, find 1 or 2 things, schedule it out if it wasn't already scheduled out, make it a priority, because you know that if you don't have that, your foundation is not going to be as strong as it needs to be. And then ignore those feelings that are going to be talking to you saying, you don't have time for this. You can't do this right now. You don't feel like doing it. You want to go out and have dinner and drinks and do nothing afterwards and watch Netflix, right? Those things are all fun and great, and I do it too. We're all human, and it's okay if you do it once in a while, but it's not okay if you listen to those bad feelings all the time. All right? And the last one on here is don't have an all or nothing mindset. So I mentioned it before, but how many of y'all have like splurged on a burger and fries and a beer and said, God, I was supposed to be on that 21-day fix. Darn it. And the next thing you know, you're like, well, I already did it for lunch. I'm just going to go ahead and not ignore dinner and just do whatever I want to do for dinner. And then you wake up the next morning and you're starving because you expanded your stomach the entire other day, the day before, and then you start eating crap again. And it becomes crap. Sorry, my kid's in here. But yeah, so you end up like eating poorly more days than just that one meal. Anybody else ever do that? Okay. If you don't do it, just know that your challengers do that. Okay. Just be aware of what's going on. So I say that Now go into your business. All right. When you go into your business, if you have one of those days, that mindset of you're like, I don't want to invite anybody. I don't feel like I can do it today. I just can't do it. And you don't. It doesn't mean that that's on Monday. On Tuesday, you do the exact same thing. And on Wednesday, you do the exact same thing. And the next thing you know, you've spent an entire week not inviting anybody. And then you wonder why it is so hard to get to Success Club at the very end of the month. I'm going to use myself as an example on this, okay? Because some of my team are on here, and I know that I was like, on March 31st, I had Success Club 4. Abby told you guys that I've had Success Club 10 for the past 4 or 5 months in a row. And I had Success Club 4 on March 31st. It's a non-negotiable to me, a non-negotiable. And the reason it is because it's the one thing, the major one thing that I have kept consistent through the 6 moves, through 6 years of being a coach, through everything that's ever happened. And I knew if I let that one thing go, that I might have those negative feelings in my head and go totally downhill. And that would be it. Honestly, I'm being very honest here. So on March 31st, I reached deep and I found people. And I did have my sister-in-law buy something. Yes, sometimes you got to do that, right? And she was willing to. But I tell you that because I had 3 people get challenge packs. And it was because I reached deep. Now, why is it that we procrastinate and wait to the very last minute? I don't know. But it happened. It was non-negotiable. It happened, and it won't happen again because here we are in April, and now I'm going back to being consistent again. So when it comes to life getting in the way, you have to go back to the very beginning. What's your why? Why did you start being a coach? If you're sure, you're really not sure, maybe who's a brand new coach in here? Like less than a month, maybe. Anybody? So a lot of times at the very beginning, you're not really sure why you signed up. You might have signed up because your friend told you to. Hey, that was me. My friend Melissa McAllister, she's like, hey, Miss, you need to be a coach. I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, but sure, I'll do it. You know, that's exactly how it was. And then I spent a year not doing anything because I didn't know what I was doing. That's okay. But then what I did is I realized there was a why behind there. So that is number 1. Find out your why, write it down, put it on sticky notes places. Make sure your family knows it. Make sure your team knows it. Make sure your success partner knows it, okay? And then always have that why in the back of your head no matter what, okay? Number 2 was pick your battles. So again, when it gets really busy, never say you don't have time to do it all, because you don't, but pick 1 or 2 things and you can do those so that your foundation is going to be a little bit more solid. How many of y'all have hit a rank and lost the rank? I think the majority have done that, all right? And mainly because when you hit that rank, there's that, oh, it feels pretty good, and something falls off. Some little piece of consistency that you had falls off. So finding your consistency, finding the priority of what's making your business run. It could be posting, but posting doesn't get you business. What gets you business? Talking to people. Yes, talking to people. So you can post so that you can talk to people. The talking to people would be the priority. The post, well, when I get super busy, guess what? I don't post as often as I used to. But I do talk to people. That's my priority, okay? And then number 3 was schedule it. Gotta schedule it. Do it the night before, do it the week before, whatever works for your schedule. For me, it's the night before because I feel like my life changes on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, honestly. So I have to schedule the night before. Ignore those crazy feelings that are telling you, no, you don't have time, you can't do it. Ignore those and just tell yourself, yes, I can. And that's right there, accountability too. That's where your team comes back in again. We do these team calls for accountability and for support. And so when you're having these negative feelings, it might be just getting through a challenge group. Or it could be the fact that you just have never been on a power hour and you don't know how to do it. And so you're scared. You're fearful of reaching out to somebody. Tell your coach. Talk to your coach. Talk to your success partner. Talk to somebody on your team. And then I promise you, those feelings of negativity will start to kind of drift away, and you'll have more positive thoughts that will come out. Okay. And the very last one is, again, don't be an all or nothing person. All right. Go for it hard as often as you can. But if you drop and you fall off the wagon, don't be afraid to get back on it. So that's all I have, honestly. I figured I would make it kind of in step mode, but you can apply it to your own life. You know, you can apply it to the fact that, you know, I have 4 kids. I don't. But how many of y'all have more than 2 kids? You know, you might have 4 kids and they're all very small and it's crazy and it seems like you're always going to the doctor or school. Or maybe you're like me and you're an empty nester and you move a lot and you're a military spouse and you're doing things on your own now. Whatever it might be, put your feet in your own shoes and start walking. Do y'all have any questions? I know I see a lot of things over here on the side, but I told you I'm blind, so I can't read them. I have one contact in today. I have these great glasses. Let me see.
I'm looking through them. A lot of just agreement with you of consistency. I need consistency. Consistency is the secret sauce. You know, totally resonating with everything that you're saying there.
No, I think it's true. And it's too often that I can always tell the difference in my paycheck and in my interaction in my challenge groups, and also in the interaction of the team itself when I am lacking my consistency. So you have to think of it now before you even grow a team. Because when you grow a team, then the consistency has to be there. And I have to tell you though, as you grow a team, the accountability helps you be more consistent too. So just think, it kind of goes in this like, you know, little circle where you have the support, you have the accountability, you have the consistency, you have the leadership, and it just kind of keeps going in this cycle. But if one of those pieces is not there, it's almost when they talk about having a balanced life, you know, friends, family, faith, all the F's, right? If one of those is not there, it's a little lopsided and it just doesn't feel right until they're all there again. So finding your consistency will also help you be more balanced and make you feel, honestly, a little more stable, you know?
So true. I think I love that so much about our business too, guys, that, you know, unlike any other network marketing business where it's beauty or skincare or whatever, you know, in health and fitness, we have to become disciplined in our own stuff to pay it forward to others. And I love that because from a challenger perspective, we are teaching people consistency. And we have to remember that in our own lives and in our own businesses too, that when it's not consistent in our own health and fitness, we can't translate that to our business. And that's that balance that comes into effect that Missy was just sharing. Love it.
One little step on that. I have 2 little sayings here, but I was in the pilot test group for Transform 20, and I can see Alyssa's on here too. Alyssa's one of my leaders in our team here, but that was something I reached out to her and I said, oh my gosh, you know, I'm super excited, but I'm also super nervous because the consistency it has to be there. Like there is no if, ands, or buts. I have to show up every single stinking day, and I can tell you that my business looked completely different during that 6 weeks time period of me showing up every single day with my own fitness and my own health. So if you're not doing that yet, you know, like maybe you're new or you haven't gotten, you know, really, you haven't completed an entire program, you have to complete a program from start to finish, because if you don't do that, 1, you can't expect anybody else to do it in your challenge groups, but 2, it really will leave out the consistency that you'll have in any other part of your business. So make sure you're doing that. I do have 2 quotes that I thought were great. One is, be faithful in small things because it is in them that your strength lies. Mother Teresa. But I thought that was great because it is small things that you accomplish every single day. That's what's going to lead you down that path. All right. And the last one is, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. So guys, start being consistent. Make that your focus word for the year, and I promise you will see changes in your business, because I built this business honestly from Success Club, and that was my consistency part of it. So with that, I will be quiet and I will introduce Abby, which I think almost every one of you know, but Abby's the one who introduced me, so we'll go from that way. So Abby is a mom of a 6-year-old and pregnant right now. how far along were you, Abby?
15 weeks.
15 weeks. Okay, very good, very good. And she has been a coach, is it 69 months, and 65 months of that she's hit Success Club?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of these things. I was like, oh, we got some things. She hit 5-star and grew a team. But with that, she has also been able to stop being a dental hygienist and be able to be home with her kid and a half from just doing this business. So with that, Abby's going to talk to us about objections.
Awesome. Thanks, Missy. Well, I'm super pumped to talk to you guys about this. And even those of you who have heard me talk about objections before, I want to encourage you, just like I said before I introduced Missy, guys, come with a blank sheet of paper and an open mind, because you never know everything. And when you think you know everything, that is when like everything goes south in life and business, because you can learn something new every day. And I think it literally, me being a coach for almost 6 years, it has taken me until a few months ago to even learn the last layer of this onion that I'm teaching you about objections today. So come prepared to learn, but let's talk about objections. So number one, how many of you like to hear the word no? How many of you like negativity? Like nobody likes to hear no, right? Like from the time you're a child and you're told like, no, you can't do that, or no, you can't have that. No has, of course, a negative connotation. That's what it is. But we have to remember and remind ourselves every single day in this business what people are saying no to. They are not saying no to you. They are saying no to what you offered them. So remember that first and foremost, as we frame this, we have this discussion together, is that we have to take away that victim mentality that like it's happening to you, or that somebody doesn't like you, or they don't like what you're posting, or they don't like what you're doing. How many of you have seen somebody post something on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, a rude meme or just a rude Facebook post about network marketing, or about, oh, if people could just stop posting these sweaty selfies, or them working out, or why are people boasting about how healthy they eat, or, you know, if I get one more message inviting me to join a boot camp, like how many of you have seen a post like that on Facebook, right? And your immediate thought was, I can't believe they're writing that about me. And like chances are it wasn't even about you at all. But that's the way we all think and operate, is that we are all like inward focused. That's where our focus goes, is we think like that's about me. That's happening to me. Why me? But I want you to remember that 9 times out of 10, it's not even about you. It was about somebody who copied and pasted the world's worst, longest message and sent it to them. And that's what their post was about. But if you're doing your business the right way, guys, it's not going to be about you. And they don't not like you. They still like you. They're just not interested in what you have to offer right now. And that's the most important thing to remember, is it's never no. It's a not right now. And I'm even going to challenge you to say that most times the no isn't really a no yet. It is a couple other things that we're going to discuss. So in business, in inviting, in Beachbody, I think we make one of 2 mistakes often. And I want you to write these down. Number 1 is that you're either convincing people, or 2, you are backing away, apologizing too early. Okay. So those are the 2 mistakes that I see people make all the time. So the first one, I'll be 100% honest with everybody, and maybe some of you can resonate with me. Okay. So like I said, I've been a coach for 6 years, and about a year and a half into my business, I really got some traction, and more than anything, I was getting yeses. I was hitting Success Club consistently because I was a really good negotiator. I could convince anybody to say yes to me, really, okay? I just became really good at saying the right thing and getting people to say yes. And you know what, though? That's not always the best thing, because if somebody's not ready and we convince them, what's going to happen? They're going to fail. They're the people who often, now this isn't all the time, sometimes there are people who just don't respond to you, and that's cool. But they're the people in my business who bought product and then never responded a message from me again. They're the people who didn't start or finish their program on any level. They fell off the face of the earth, all the things. And that was me disservicing them because they weren't ready to go, and I convinced them to do it anyways. And so I had to find this balance between, number one, convincing people, or the second one, number two, which I bet a lot of you can resonate with this one too, right? When you ask somebody and they say, no thanks, it's not for me, or no thanks, I don't have any time, or no thanks, like whatever their excuse is, and you say, oh, no worries, thanks anyways, bye. Like, and you just run away in the opposite direction, and that's just it, right? And so you either convince or you leave the room as quickly as possible, and you don't give the conversation a chance to go any further. So we have to learn to love the no just as much as we love the yes, okay? And this takes time. It takes time desensitizing yourself from the negative of the no, but I think it comes from three things. So these are the three things I want you to remember about this, about learning to love the no as much as you love the yes. Number one is your thought process. You have to think abundantly, okay? I want you to make a new affirmation for yourself that you say every time you sit down to work. It's what I say when I sit down to work, and I say, there are people who are ready today to join me. I say it every single time I sit down to work, because it's true. When you put your focus on all the people who are going to say no, how many of you have said this to yourself when you sit down to work? Everybody says no. Everybody I talk to says no, right? And you get yourself in that negative headspace where you're looking for the no. You're like, oh, they're going to say no. You're just putting that out there in the world. But when I sit down to work, I think abundantly. There are people out there who are ready to join me today. Okay. And I want you to know that there are a lot of people who aren't ready today, but there are a lot of people who are ready today too. Okay. So number one is think abundantly. Number two is to remember that it truly is a numbers game, and that's never going to change in the realm of sales, network marketing, any of it. So we do have to get through so many no's before you're going to hear a yes. You know, most people will tell you about 1 in 10 people will say yes to you. And when you're first getting started, or when you're still learning your verbiage, the way you talk to people, that ratio might even be higher. It might be 1 in 20 people that say yes to you. Okay. And then number three is that all business training will teach you that it takes at least 5 exposures to the same person before you hear yes. Okay. And so that might mean you asking them 5 times. Maybe you're their only exposure. Or maybe somebody else is asking them too that you don't even know. This is social media. This is the internet. It's a big wide world out there. So you might ask them 1 time, and then if you never ask them again, somebody else is going to come ask them, and they're going to say yes to them because they had the number of exposures they needed to be ready to say yes at that point in time. So remember that it is exposures. You have to come back and ask them yourself, and you don't know where they're at in that timeline. So you might say, like, I asked that person and they were ready today. I bet your bottom dollar they've already been exposed to this a few other times, either by somebody else they know doing Beachbody On Demand, somebody else they've seen posting, all the things that made them ready to be at that place at that time where the switch was on and they were ready to say yes. Okay. So the next thing is, it's not our job to decide whether somebody gives you a yes or a no. And it's not our job to get a yes or a no. Really, it doesn't matter which one you get. I should say that. It's not your job to get a yes or to get a no. It's just
Where's our daughter at in life?
Uh-oh. Make sure everybody's muted for me. There you go. Thanks. Okay. So you just need to get a yes or no. It doesn't matter which one. Your job is to get an answer. Okay. So our job is to just offer the opportunity, not to get a yes. We offer the opportunity to join us on a health journey. We offer the opportunity for people to join us as a coach in a business, but we don't have to worry about just getting a no or just getting a yes. It's getting an answer from them. We offer the opportunity. And then this piece that Missy just talked about being consistent, right? When you do it consistently, guys, when you offer opportunity consistently, you're never desperate. We're desperate when we get like what Missy admitted to, and we can all raise 2 hands and admit that it's happened in our businesses over the course of the years where, you know, you didn't do it consistently and then you were desperate. Like, we desperately need 3 people to join us to hit Success Club, or we desperately need whatever to hit a goal because we waited so long. But when we do it consistently, and it really is, that John Maxwell quote is one of my favorites, the sum of all the small things consistently that we do daily is what brings us success, guys. The 5 invites a day, that brings you success. not the 40 in one day as often, because we're in a totally different headspace, just looking for that yes and being desperate. So remember that. Do it consistently so you don't have to be desperate. Ask yourself, start reframing it to yourself. How many people can I offer this opportunity to today? How many people can I touch back with and follow up with today? Not how many yeses can I get? Not even how many no's can I get? How many people can I offer this to? Think abundantly. Okay. So next thing, what does no really mean? Number one, it means not right now. Okay. But number two, and the more important piece of the puzzle, is that people need more information. This is what I've really found out this year more than anything, this last year in my business, is, I always used to just stop with that. And after I got away from convincing people, I would be that person that was like, okay, thanks for reading my message. Thanks for getting back to me. I'll see you guys later. I'll check back with you next month or next time. And I didn't go a step further to see what information they actually needed, because a no, 9 times out of 10, it's not just a no right now. They need more information. So remind yourself of that when you get the no, that they need more information, and it's your job to figure out what information they need. So we learn to peel back the layers of the onion, and that's the best way that I can describe this is, like literally when you invite somebody and they say no, you've got like the whole onion there. That's it. It's just got the peel on it. Nothing. They just said no. Okay. But whenever we talk through this with them, when you give yourself permission to have an open dialogue with them and not just run away, everything changes. And how you can do this authentically and genuinely and not like push people away to run away is by the next question that you ask them. And how we get into this right headspace is you have to know what's in it for them. Okay. It's not about you. What's in it for you is Success Club and getting a yes and selling the next challenge pack. And that's what you're thinking. But when we change our thought process from that inward to the outward thinking, and we say, what's in it for them? Like, why do they need this? Why does this person need this in their life right now? Get yourself in that headspace where you're willing to go further, where you're willing to have a conversation and kind of challenge their no a little bit, because you know what's in it for them. You want them to have this because they shared with you that they couldn't afford the challenge pack and they need more money in their life. Or they shared with you that, they're so upset with how they look, how they feel, the weight they've gained, whatever it is. When you know what's in it for them, everything changes. So we've got to change our focus and then reframe it into a question. So for example, what are the most, objections that you guys hear? Time, money, right? Those are the 2 most common objections. And in some form, no matter what the objection is, it usually boils down to something about time or money. Okay. Those are the 2 things people always need more of in life. They need more time or they need more money. Okay. So whenever somebody says to you, oh, that'd be great, but I don't have the time, what do you say? Thanks. Okay. I totally get it. Bye. I'll check back with you when you have more time. Who has ever had more time? Like, who have you ever checked back in with? And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you checked back in with me because I just have nothing going on in life anymore. Like, my life is just totally mellowed out. I have so much free time I don't know what to do with, right? When I first started this business, I had a 7-month-old. I was a full-time grad student. I was working as a dental hygienist 25 to 30 hours a week. I just opened a gym that year when I found out I was pregnant, and I was teaching about 10 to 14 fitness classes a week because we had just opened. So it was like I was everything for everybody, okay? I had no time. I also sing for my church. I volunteer. I do all these things. I had no time. If somebody would have checked back in with me 3 months later, I still wouldn't have had any time. If they would have checked back in with me today, 6 years later, I still don't have any time, right? So we have to reframe that question. And the question that's changed everything with time for me is this one. When somebody says, oh, that really sounds great, I'd love to coach, but I just don't have the time for it, I say, oh, I totally get that. How much time do you think you need to build a business like I have? You will be mind blown. I'm not even kidding you. You'll be mind blown when you just ask that question, because they'll say one of 2 things. They'll say something astronomical like, well, I need to do it full time and I have another job, right? Or I don't have the time because I need to do it and I have kids. Right? Oh, I have kids too and I have another job and all the things. So people say that, or they will say to you, well, I don't know. right? Like they had this objection, but they didn't even know the answer to their question, and it opens the door for you. So I start with that. How much time do you think I need to do this? And then the door will open from there, where we can continue to peel back the layers of the onion, where it usually isn't about time in the end. Like we'll start to talk about time, but then like another layer of the onion comes off where they're like, I don't think I know enough people. And then another layer of the onion comes off and they're like, I'm not in good enough shape. And you can talk through each of those things with them as it comes at you. And as those things come up where you truly know what the thing is now, like they say, I don't know enough people, or I'm not in good enough shape, that's when you can use that feel, felt, found method, if you guys have ever heard of that. So like, I totally get how you feel. I felt the same way. I had no time, or I had weight to lose when I started this journey, or I had 3 friends on Facebook. But what I found is I've now built a social media following to maxing out my Facebook friends over 6 years, right? And we'll teach you how to do that. So you can really peel back the layers of the onion when you do that. So if I kind of feel like, okay, they're not getting anywhere with me when I ask, like, how much time do you think you need? Or I just don't really feel like that's the most appropriate question for them in the conversation. The other path that I'll take was something like this is I'll say, if time weren't an issue, is this something you could see yourself enjoying? Okay, that's another golden question to ask somebody. So if time was not an issue, could you see yourself enjoying coaching, right? And they're going to say yes, because they already said like, oh, that would be really cool if I had time. Right. And so then I say to them, okay, do you have can I have permission to just dream with you for a minute? If I could teach you how to work you already know something about them. They have kids, or they work 2 jobs, or whatever. If I could teach you how to, we'll say they have kids, work in those little pockets of time where you're usually just scrolling your phone on Facebook or Instagram to earn like $200 a month for your family, would that be something you're open to learning more about? That's the other golden question. That end of that question I just said, is that something you're open to or open to learning more about? Okay. When we ask somebody if they're open, it's super positive connotation and it leads to a good conversation together. Okay. So asking them if they're open is a great way to do that. So I dream with them a little bit. I ask them, if they're open to learning more about that. And if they're open to learning more about it, guess what? This is a good conversation. We're like continuing on a good path together. So that's great. So what I want to dig into, the second objection that we get a lot often is the money one. Okay. How many of you get money objections? Anybody? Okay, good. I'll be honest with you. I rarely get money objections anymore. Okay. And I truly believe it comes down to one thing, your belief in these programs and products and in the opportunity. Okay. And I think this wavers for so many times in our life as we go through waves and seasons of our business. I got a lot of, objections whenever I was going through a phase of my business when I had to kind of built it up awesomely and then it kind of crumbled a little bit. And I wasn't confident in the opportunity for a period of time. I was like, I don't believe in this opportunity because I'm looking at what I have and I'm a little bit down in the dumps about it, right? And how many of you have experienced that? Maybe just like Missy said, you hit a rank and you dropped it, or whatever the case may be. And then your belief in the opportunity wavers or changes, okay? When we're not consistent in our fitness and in our health, our belief in the programs and products giving people results and being worth it and a value, those kind of go down and diminish a little bit. And especially, I think one of the biggest ones, especially when you're, I want to say even newer in the business to the point of like a year, maybe even 2 years into the business, like, do you truly believe 100% with all of your heart that Shakeology is worth $130 a month? Okay. Because if you don't truly, honestly, with all your heart believe that, you are always going to struggle when people are like, well, I'm drinking this Vega shake. I'm drinking this Garden of Life protein. I'm drinking this Premier protein from Sam's Club. You're always going to struggle when they say that because you don't believe that it's worth the $130. And I do lots of trainings on Shakeology, and the reason I do it is not so that people learn all the ingredients in it and can then go tell, somebody that they're talking to what ashwagandha will do for them. It's so you believe with all your heart what's in it and what it's going to do for other people and what it does for yourself. That's what's super important. So if you struggle with belief in Shakeology, I encourage you to go look in the archives in the National Wake Up Calls. Listen to Isabel and Darren talk about Shakeology. Listen to those Insider Shakeology podcasts, like YouTube Shakeology trainings. One of mine will come up. One of Darren's will come up. Lots of them will come up. And really believe with all your heart in the product, because it'll do something for you. I also know if you don't drink it every day, you don't believe in it as much either. So if you're somebody even who drinks it 5 days a week, your challengers won't drink it 7 days a week, right? And so I really want to challenge you in that, is that do you believe in the product? When it comes to Beachbody On Demand, dude, that's one of the products I believe the most in from a value standpoint. And can I tell you something hilarious? I don't work out at home. I rarely work out at home. I will do yoga at home on the yoga studio. I'll do some workouts here and there. But for me, I love the gym. I love classes. I love working out at the gym. So Beachbody On Demand isn't something I personally use every day. But guess what? Not using it every day even, I still believe it is so worth $99 a year. Are you kidding me? And I love to give that example because I own a gym. So one drop-in class at my gym costs more than going once a month to the gym to one class costs more than Beachbody On Demand for an entire year. Are you kidding me? What value we have to offer people. So do you believe with all your heart that Beachbody On Demand is worth $100 a year? I believe it's worth far more than that. They are giving it away. It is ridiculous. And that's what I believe about challenge packs. I believe we're giving it away. Are you kidding me? $160 for 30 meals of Shakeology, I also have my master's in nutrition and I've done all the research. There's nothing better out there than Shakeology. And we're going to give people that 30 meals of it, a shake that actually benefits them and works and fuels their body well and does what it says it's going to do on the bag. And a year of workouts that we add to constantly for $160. And you can't even get 3 personal training sessions for that. Are you kidding? Right? So that's what I want you to get yourself hyped up with, because it's easy to get back into that headspace where you think it's expensive when people are saying no to you. But when you get yourself hyped up, and literally I used to do this before I'd invite till I really believed it with all my heart. I'd be like, okay, why is this stuff worth it? What does Shakeology do for me? What's it done for my challengers? What have people told me about it? Right? What's the value in this? And then, do you know what the one thing people devalue the most? They forget to include it in the package of what people get. You are the most valuable piece of the puzzle. Literally, not only is there only one you, but a coach, accountability, somebody to make sure a workout DVD like we used to have didn't get dusty on the shelf. That's you, a friend to walk through this journey with. You are the most valuable piece of the puzzle, and we often write it off that's nothing. This is so cheap. It is literally cheap. And when you start to frame it that way in your mind, you will not get objections to money. And when you do, it won't even faze you. And you're like, girl, I don't know if you get it, but let me make sure I'm spelling this out to you, what you're getting for this price, right? So make sure you guys reframe that thinking. All right, so this is the last thing, how I want to tie a bow on it, and then I can answer any questions for you. I have 10 tips to wrap all this up. You're just going to write them down on a piece of paper, and it's all the highlights from what we talked about. So number 1, what we just talked about, build your belief. Build your belief in the products, build your belief in the opportunity of what we have to offer. Be a collector of success stories, literally screenshot messages when people send them to you about the weight that they lost, screenshot posts in your challenge group. Save people's before and afters. Not that you have permission to post them if you don't, but save them in an album on your phone. That's your inspiration for why this works. Read people's financial success stories and believe you can do it too. Build your belief, number 1. Number 2, think abundantly. Remind yourself every day when you sit down to work that there are people who are ready today to say yes to you, okay? There are people who are ready today. Think abundantly. Number 3, your only job is to offer the opportunity. Doesn't that let you off the hook and take the pressure off so much when you don't have to be worried about the yes? And I should also say that we'll add a word to it. Add a word at the end of that. Your only job is to offer the opportunity consistently. Consistently, right? Because that's when we're going to get the results and we don't have to be worried about if it's a yes or a no. Number 4, also the consistent piece. Be consistent so you're not desperate. Be consistent so you're not desperate. Number 5, what's in it for them? What's in it for them? Okay. I need you every time you're talking to somebody, when you get an objection, if you don't know what's in it for them, back up, pump the brakes. Like, do you know why they even could benefit from this on any level? And if not, pump the brakes and ask. Like, hey, if they just told you they couldn't afford it, if money wasn't an issue, what do you think this could do for you? What do you think being involved in a group like this would do for you? What do you think the accountability could do for you? What do you think the working out daily could do for you? Whatever. Okay. Number 6, the conversation does not stop at no. And we didn't really talk about this one, so I'll give you a 60-second bit on this one. So when somebody says no, like we said, we peel back the layers of the onion on it. And then that takes us into the next one, is the conversation doesn't stop at yes. Okay? So what do I mean by that? Whenever somebody says yes, I want you to change your mindset to not stop until you get a no. So what does that mean? When I get a yes for a $180 To Be Mindset Challenge pack with Shakeology, because I sell that all the time, okay? And I sell that all the time because a lot of people I talk to also like to work out at the gym. And so we weren't talking about BOD. We started talking about nutrition first, all right? So once I got a yes to the $180 Shakeology and To Be Mindset Challenge pack, I say, awesome, I can't wait to get you set up with that. But I have one more question for you, because I can't help but offer you this crazy, incredible deal that in a bundle like this for $40 more, you could have a year access of Beachbody On Demand, which is just ridiculous. And I'm like, I could show you a little video on it if you don't know about it, but it's like Netflix for workouts, and you get access to thousands of workouts that rock. Would you like to do that? 9 times out of 10, you know what somebody says? Oh, $40, yeah. Because they're not thinking about $220 now. They're thinking about $40 more. So then they say yes to that. Then what do I say? Okay, the next thing that's going to be good for them, what's in it for them? Stop thinking about you and thinking about I got a yes, so I better run away. What's in it for them? What could they use more of? Do they like to work out at the gym, or are they going to start a fitness program? Would the performance line be a great add-on for them? Talk about it. Have they been really struggling to kick sugar? Would the 3-day refresh be a great start for them? Hey, I don't know if you know, but you can add the 3-day refresh onto this package for $40. It's a whole food cleanse that I love, that I do every few months when I just can't get myself back on track and stop eating the junk, right? So do it until you get a no, and then be like, no worries, let's get you set up with your package, okay? And with that, I never walk away from a conversation without offering somebody the coaching opportunity. So once you get that yes, offer them the coaching opportunity too, okay? So that's that one. And then, oh yeah, next one. Don't make someone else's job easier. Follow up. Okay, remember that. They're going to say yes to somebody. Do you want it to be you, or do you want it to be the person who, was their 5th exposure in the end and not you? Okay. Next one. Is this 9? Is this 9? 8? 8? Yeah, good. 8. Make your objections public posts. Okay? When somebody tells me that they don't have money to do this, when somebody tells me that they don't have time to do this, I make a post about it. I share something about it. When they tell me they don't have money to do it, I make a post about how I can't believe that I've built a business that let me leave my career as a dental hygienist for $160. That's what my startup cost was. To start up my gym, it was tens of thousands of dollars, right? So I always make posts about those things. And then the next one, don't tell people everything. Tell them what they need to know. Okay? This was a huge one for me in objections, because when people say no, or they say no to whatever, you might start like word vomiting on them all the things like it's a really great deal, and like they weren't even worried about the money. Their thing was the time, and you start to like throw in all these other pieces of the puzzle that they didn't need. So make sure you know what they need and then answer their question. Don't give them all the information. Okay. And then did I give you all of them? Like, why did I get through all of them on my paper? Did I skip one? Build your belief, think abundantly. Your only job is to offer the opportunity. Be consistent so you aren't desperate. What's in it for them? The conversation doesn't stop at no. Don't stop at yes. Don't make someone else's job easier. Follow up. Make your objections. Public posts. And don't tell people everything. Tell them what they need. Did I give you 10? Yeah? Good. Okay. So that's what I had for you tonight about objections. Does anybody have any questions about objections? I'll look through these too. Think same kind of thing with Missy. Everybody's just agreeing. Yes, homemade shakes cost twice as much. It's true every time.
You were mentioning like personal training, and I know I have a team that had a lot of personal trainers on there, but personal trainers will train somebody for 1, 2, maybe 3 times a week and charge anywhere between $60 to $100 an hour. So that is something I always kind of bring up there too, is that when I was training people, I would train one-on-one, and I didn't always get the clientele that I wanted either, because a lot of times it was they were enjoying or could afford me at $100 an hour, but they weren't really the people that I wanted to work with, because I wanted to work with people who really wanted to get results, not just have a gossip session. So I kind of bring those things up when I'm talking to people if they are having those objections about money, and I say, well, you're getting a team of trainers, not just one. And even if you're not a personal trainer, certified personal trainer, there are things that we are trained in. I mean, even with the new certification that just came out, going and doing that as a coach is important, because then you have another credential underneath your back pocket that you can always bring up, that you can help somebody with that too. And to go out and really get somebody to help you is going to cost a lot of money, where you are offering your services practically for free. I hate to say it that way, but you do whenever they're in a challenge group. So
true. I love that, Missy. And with personal trainers too, I love to talk to personal trainers as coaches, because guys, I mean, I have a master's in nutrition. Man, is it awesome to help more people at one time, instead of like, you only have how many hours in a day that you can work with clients. And it's usually at the world's worst times. Like, when do people want to work out? Before work, super early in the morning, you're waking up at the crack of dawn, or in the evening after they're done with work, where you have the opportunity, even if you do still like in-person training, to stay like in touch with these people throughout the week in challenge groups, where before it was like, maybe I see you once a week, and then like, oh, I saw you next Monday and you still ate crappy food all week, and we had no touch points in between. So coaching enhances personal training in so many ways, in my opinion. I saw a question there. How do you transition? What would this do for you? Answers to tackling money objections. Again, if they keep saying they can't afford it. So whenever people say they can't afford it, I like to peel back the layers of the onion in 2 different ways. So one way is my first solution is always offering them the coaching opportunity, because if they don't have money to do this, they don't have money for a lot of things in their life right now. And do you know that the average American family, $200 a month is what would change their world? Literally $200 a month would cause less arguments in their home and like change their world. So know that. The other thing I like to do when I talk to people about money, after I offer them the coaching opportunity, and I say to them, hey, if I could show you how in small pockets of time you could earn like $200 a month, would that be something that you'd be open to? They usually say yes, that they're open to learning more about that, because they are in need of money. The other end of it is sometimes it's not money, it's they're not ready. They're just not ready. Like, they're not ready to make a commitment to change their nutrition and their health and their life. And, hopefully somebody on here doesn't mind that I'm going to share this. I won't say their name. But, they joined as a coach with me a few months ago, and money was a major objection. And we talked through the things in their life that cost them money, right? And that's something you need to be bold about. And you always have to ask permission, because money is, like, I like to say, like, money's like sex. Like, it's one of those things people like don't like to talk about. They like put up the big old blinders. But you can say this to people, and you can just simply say to them, do I have permission to, talk through your budget at all with you, or to ask you some questions about how you could afford this, or give you some ideas about what could work. And 9 times out of 10, people are eating out multiple times a week. They are, spending money at Starbucks. They are doing all these other things that, once you figure out a little bit about them, I'll say, like, hey, would you be willing to give up eating out once a week with, your husband at dinner in order to try Shakeology for 1 month and see what it does for you? And then they're like, if they're actually ready, they're like, I guess I could do that for a month and just see if it works for me, right? But if they still say no, it's usually just that they're not ready and there's something else that we still haven't uncovered yet. Cool. Well, I don't want to keep anybody any longer because I want to respect everybody's time. It's 10:02. But if you guys have more objection questions, please pass them on to Missy if you're on her team, and I'm happy to answer them or to send you guys a video. And I'm just glad everybody got to come on tonight. Great information. Thanks, Missy, again for your time as well and for being flexible tonight. And thank you all for getting on. I hope you have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you.
Guys, thank you.